Hey guys, we're live on the moon. It's Friday night, June the 29th, 10:55 p.m. A little breezy outside, and it's shaking. I found something that's kind of strange, and I want to show you where it is at. Centered is just about exactly centered as Archimedes, and at Archimedes, 11 o'clock is Plato, the large crater, and then to the left, as you can see, the Laplace Promontory and Herculean Promontory in the Jura Mountains next to the coastlands. You say, well, Bill, I don't see any of that. Well, you need to watch my other videos. It's that sea thing. The top of the sea is Laplace Promontory. I call it coastlands because you can see it looks like a coastlands next to an ocean. Matter of fact, it's next to Mar Iberium, which is called the Sea of Showers or the Sea of Rain. Well, as I normally do, and you can see it's bright, so I put in a moon filter tonight. I don't usually like to do that, but I had to because of the brightness of the moon. And I normally do a cursory inspection of what is on the moon, so I can maybe look at things that are interesting. And you can see Mar Humidorum at the bottom, kind of at the 6 o'clock position. That's a sea of moisture, what I call Crystal Lake. Well, if you just kind of follow me, and I hope the wind doesn't blow. We're going to zoom in a little bit here. And I'm going to put a Barlow on and take a look at this, but I wanted to do it on camera so you can see what I'm looking at. Look at what is centered right now. It looks like a rocket ship that landed in the moon at an angle, and there's a shadow underneath it. That's probably not what it is. It's probably just a rock. But I have an imagination that's pretty vivid. Let me center it. We're going to explore this together. You know me, I'm looking for anything that's not normal or unusual. Okay. Centered, just about centered exactly. See that object that kind of goes on a straight line exactly in the center, horizontal, and below that is a shadow. It's like what you're looking at is something that's sticking in above the crater or whatever it is, and below that you're looking at the dark shadow of the what is above. Let me do this. Let me try to focus it, although I think it's focused pretty good. I'll just try to focus it because I'm kind of I feel like Christopher Columbus discovering America. Have discovered something on the moon, and I want to kind of share it with you as I go through the discovery process. And let me turn the autofocus on just for grins and see if we can do any better with that. You can see there are atmospherics. You see what I'm talking about? You can see clearly there's something that is horizontal. It's exactly centered. And below that, going from the left of that horizontal object down to the 4 o'clock position is a shadow, a dark shadow, which means the sun is that's a shadow of that object. And to the right, the very right of that, the tip of that shadow is a small crater. Now, what in the hell are we looking at, guys? Okay, well, let's pause. Right now, I have my 19 millimeter in at close, as close as I can get it. What we're going to do, we're going to back out so you can again get a feel for where we're at. You know me, I'm looking for all kinds of strange things on the moon. And we're going to put that Barlow in, and we're going to see, we're going to get 2.5 times closer and see if we can see anything clear. So hang with me, guys. A Barlow coming up. Okay, Bill back, and you can see that object at the 4 o'clock position. We're going to zoom in a minute. We don't have any zoom on it at all. I got a 2.5 times PowerMate TeleView Barlow, which is probably one of the best Barlow lenses for low light that's made, and a TeleView Panoptic 19mm $300 lens, all hooked up to my $68 webcam. Who is this idiot? My name is Bill Bryson, and I do videos of the moon when I can see it. I live in a small suburb of Houston called Richmond, Texas. And I have a porch observatory, and I try to get out and look at the moon every chance I get. Whenever the weather, we've had thunderstorms and lightning and thunder, and man, I was caught in traffic for an hour today. It was really pretty bad. And we have centered now that object that we were looking at just a minute ago. Now let's see, this is the fun of astronomy. Don't you feel like high adventure? Don't you feel like you're kind of you're on the top of the masthead? You're the lookout, and you're looking out for Columbus, and you're looking out from the Santa Maria, and you see that island out there, and you say, what in the hell was that? That's land. Well, that's what we're doing. We're kind of looking out, and we see something strange on the moon. And you're sitting here right next to me with my monitor, and we're going in there, and we're going to see if we can see what we can see. Okay, now let me continue to. I'm just zooming slow, and we'll continue to. Need to go down. That means I need to go up, up, up. I always, when I get excited, I really screw up. I get excited. Down a little bit. More in, more in, more in. Max zoom. Okay, I'm not going to focus it just yet. I'm trying to figure out if that's a crater or that's a spaceship. I don't know what it is. Okay, let me back out to get a little bit of clarity, and then we'll try to. Okay, see the atmospherics? That's why it's wavy. It's waving. Let me explain something. The way the Earth works with astronomy. Whenever you look, you know why they build observatories on top of mountains, so they can get above the heat. And the heat rises, and when it rises, even in the night, it's rising, and it's a hot night, hot and humid outside. And so we're going to have atmospherics, and it distorts. You're looking through the Earth's atmosphere at the moon. And so we do have a little bit. Before we do, let me see if I can get a hone in on what we're looking at. I got my trusty. See that? Y'all can see where I'm looking at. Before I do that, let me try to focus it a little bit. I'm going to take it out of focus. Okay, out of focus. In focus. Okay, now let me try to turn autofocus on, and let me see if it'll lock in. See, it'll move around a little bit. That's as probably good as I can get it. See that crater at the kind of 1230 position with, it looks like it has 3 legs pointing to the left. That is Capunus crater. Capunus crater. And see the crater to the immediate left of the lower leg. That is Elgar crater. Elgar crater. And the crater, you know, it's interesting, this moon map that I'm looking at even looks like it has something that's straight. You know how I told you that every time you come up here on the moon, it's a different world, okay? It's a different, the shadow always reveals things that you never saw before. And let me center it again. We're going to zoom in again. Okay. But before we zoom in, I'm going to mess around with the contrast. Turn it down just a little bit. Turn the brightness up just a little bit. What in the hell are we looking at, guys? Something that's straight, and whatever it is, it would have to be huge. But the thing, I see straight things all the time on the moon. Let's zoom in again. I do have autofocus still on. Let me try to center it. Autofocus is still on. See, you're exploring. You're my lookout, guys. You're sitting next to me and you say, Bill, what is that? Move your thing. Go a little bit to the, you know, move it around. Okay, we're going to zoom in a little bit more since I got autofocus on now. And let's turn the brightness down a little bit. No. I just don't know what it is, guys. I see a clear shadow of something that's like sticking up above the ground. I don't know what it is. We turn the color all the way off. And let me back the zoom out again. You know, did you notice? I don't know if you, to me now it looks like the craters are all puffed up. Have you noticed that? Let me explain what you're looking at. It's an optical illusion, really. They're not breathing and they're not, you know, changing shape. It's just, it's the way the atmosphere works with what you're looking at. I don't know, guys. I just don't know. Be back all the way out. So you can still clearly see what appears to be a defined shadow below. I'll tell you what it looks like to me. It looks like a rocket ship that crash landed and is angled on the surface of the moon, and we're looking at the shadow of it sitting above the surface of the moon. There you go. You're saying, well, Bill, that's not I mean, that's just a crater. Well, okay, it could be a crater. I mean, I really don't know what it is, but I'm telling you what it looks like. It looks like something is stuck, a huge, humongous rock, and it's sticking in the surface, and we're looking at the shadow. Take a look at the crater at the 4 o'clock position from that spaceship. See the shadow line on the rim. See how this? That's where the sun's coming. The sun is coming from the 1 o'clock position, 1:30 position, and that's why we have the shadow line on the left. Well, if you look at the sun, the way it's coming down on that rocket ship, it's projecting on top of that rocket ship, or rock, or whatever it is, and you're seeing the angular position of the sun reflecting in form of a shadow below the surface. For you guys that really want to dig into this on your moon maps, see that crater? I'll center the crater. See that crater that's centered right now? That is called Hazel Crater. Hainzel crater. And the little crater directly above that, that's kind of to the left of that third leg off of the left of Copernicus, is Elgar Crater. But again, the focal point, and what I'm looking at is, there I go, get excited, is that, and I'll zoom one more time in, and then we're going to kind of, so you can see it, how, isn't autofocus neat, how you see it went in and out of focus? It's actually pretty good for a Barlow. And I'll zoom in again. And see, you go all the way and you do lose, you can see the detail, but you also lose some of the detail because we're probably at 400, at least beyond 480 power, probably 500, 600 power, I don't know. The maximum effective power of my telescope is 480 power. And that's why I kind of think that's probably right about there, because that's pretty clear. There you go. Something's stuck on the moon. What in the hell it is, I don't know. I don't know, guys. Oh, what fun. You never know what you're going to run into. See how when I went too far? See that on the right at 4 o'clock and at 1 o'clock, or 5 and 1, that's tunneling. I go in one more click and I get rid of it. Let's turn up the Keller now and see if we can yeah. See that you don't see any Kellering around that. Well, let's just sit here for a minute. That's really pretty. That is Copernicus. Matter of fact, one of the areas that we were exploring before was a crater called Kunowsky. Let's check out our Kunowsky Crater again and look. I saw an anomaly. Isn't that beautiful, guys? Now you just need to stop and drink your coffee. I got some black currant tea. Black currant tea. Isn't that good? And I'm going to center Kunowsky Crater. Kunowsky Crater is centered. Now, another UFO hotspot, guys. A UFO hotspot. I don't know what it is. Aliens on the moon. But there's something to the right of Kunowsky Crater. To the east. And we're going to check it out. And let's bring it up a little bit. I'll center it. Turn up the Keller just a dab. Just a dab. See to the right of Kunowsky Crater. See that those, it looks like it's a star, like 1, 2, 3, or 4 peaks on the right at the top, kind of, and then a circle below, 1, 2, 3. Now, isn't that really weird? You have structures that look like antenna complex on the moon. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Let me bring it up a little bit. I still have autofocus on. Be zooming in. Autofocus is on and working. We're just, you can see the clarity where, you know, we kind of went beyond the effective power. I'll back it out a little bit, but you can clearly see those. See that Kunowsky Crater? Let me center Kunowsky again. It's hard when centered, pretty much. See that star complex to the right? Now what in the hell is that? See, I'm throwing a whole bunch of good stuff at you. I have no idea what I'm looking at. It's unusual, it's strange, it's symmetrical, and obviously alien. Oh, obviously alien. I hope you guys have been well. It has been a while. We've had a dark moon, and isn't that beautiful? Just pause to refresh. See the color? Just incredible. At the 12 o'clock position is Laplace Promontory. To the left of Laplace Promontory is the Jura Mountains in what I call the coastlands. And at the base of the sea, at the kind of 7 o'clock position, is Promontory Hercules. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. And I'm going to teach you something else. See to the right of Promontory Laplace, see that range of mountains that's in the Sea of Showers? I'll center it. Centered. See, it kind of looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, it's not that, but that's what it looks like. That is the Recti Mountains. Montes Recti. Matter of fact, let's zoom in on that. That's a pretty good picture of the Recti Mountains. Although, you know, we back out a little bit. But look at the color. And Plato Crater is at the 1 o'clock, the big crater. Okay, let's do this. Let's go back down to our spaceship. Our crashed spaceship. That's Copernicus. And what's that crater to the right of Copernicus? See, I'm a professor and you're my students. It's called Eratosthenes Crater. And where is it at? It is in the Montes Alps. It's in the Alpine Mountains on the moon. And if you go up the Alps on the moon, see that mountain range? Isn't that cool? Look at, you can see the peaks, you can see the top. See, if you were a little Tom Corbett space cadet walking in that valley, wouldn't that be way cool? You would be looking up at those mountains. Isn't that neat? And see that crater to the left, that large crater? That's Archimedes. And see, exactly centered, exactly centered. See that little alcove of, you can see the mountains, the peaks of the mountains on the left, at the top and at the bottom, and then another little kind of a little mountain range to the left of that, and there's a valley, kind of an alcove in the mountains there. Guess what happened in that alcove? Apollo 15 landed right there. And so we get too close, and it gets kind of more difficult to see. Apollo 15 landed there. And here's a trivia question. What was the thing that happened on the Apollo 15 mission? That was the first time they used the rover on the moon. So the rover's sitting down there, guys. Okay, let's go back down. Isn't that beautiful? Look at the color. And you got to admit, guys, I give you a pretty good tour of the moon. You never know what you're going to run into either. There's a horse on the left at the 10 o'clock. See the horse? And there's Tycho. Watch my videos a little while. You're going to become pretty smart. Let's take a look at this rocket ship before we sign off one more time. I didn't think this would be a very good session. It turned out to be a pretty good one. Really interesting. Okay, I'll center it exactly, then I'll zoom in one more time. It's about centered. There's our rocket ship, or whatever. I mean, something straight and something that it looks like it's a big old rock. It looks like a rocket ship crash landed at an angle, and we're looking at the sun shadow. I mean, that's exactly what it looks like to me. Of course, you'll say, "Well, no, that's just the base of a crater, and we're looking at the shadow of the edge of the crater." Well, if that's what you wanted to believe, that's fine with me. But it looks to me like something strange. I'll zoom in one more click, and you can see we lose the clarity when we get in. One of the things that astronomers, one of the secrets of astronomy is you need to learn. When you go in so far and then you really do lose the clarity. And again, for those of you who want to try to trace this one down, that crater that is kind of at the 2 o'clock from that rocket ship, it has those three things going on the left side. That's Capunus, C-A-P-U-A-N-U-S crater. And right below the prong on the bottom is another crater, and that's Elger crater, E-L-G-E-R. And that large crater to the 4 o'clock, 4:30 of the rocket ship is called H-A-I-N-Z-E-L crater. But it's interesting, on my moon map, which is a photography map of the moon, it also has a picture of what appears to be a rocket ship with a shadow. So I think that what we are looking at is indeed some ancient artifact on the moon. It might not be a rocket ship, but it is some structure, and we're looking at it, and we're looking at the shadow that it's projecting on the moon. I'll let you decide for what you want it to be. Anyhow, wishing you and yours clear skies, guys.